multiplying, so couple of terms to remember from grade 9. Monomials. Monomials are things that are one term each. And they have numbers, which we call coefficients, and variables. So in this example 1, the first bracket is one monomial. The second one is the other monomial. And when you're multiplying them, all we do is multiply the numbers together and then multiply the variables together. And generally it says the order doesn't matter. A times B is the same as B times A. And it would never be wrong if I got my answer is ab and you wrote ba, it would still be 100% correct. But generally, if we have the option, we like AB better just because it's alphabetical. So, we're multiplying this first example. And we got 3 and negative 8. Those are our numbers. Multiplying those, negative 24. Then we look at our variables. We have an x squared here, and we have a b squared x and a y to the 4 there. And we're going to multiply them together. So first of all, do you remember when multiplying variables that like x times b is just going to be x times b? You can't put that together. The only thing you could put together is if you have the variables that are the same. So I have an x squared here, which I'll underline, and an x there. How many x's would you have when you multiply them all together? You'd have x cubed, because there'd be 3 x's all multiplied together. So when we write our final answer here, alphabetically, we'd still have a b squared. But now we have an x cubed, and we still have the y to the 4th. So I would say that multiplying is considerably easier than factoring, right? Because when you multiply, how many answers are there to 3 times 8? 1. There's only 24, right? But when we factor, we have to problem solve a little bit, because if I said, you have 24, what did I multiply to get that? Could have been 8 times 3. What else could I multiply to get 24? 2 times 12, 6 times 4. Now there's more options, right? And that's what makes factoring a little bit more difficult, because you have to consider all the options. But multiplying is really straightforward, because there's only going to be one option. Now if you multiply 3 monomials together, the same rule applies, but now we're multiplying all of our numbers together. So we have to say, can you do negative 5 times negative 3 times negative 2? What do you get? Negative 30. Perfect. How many people did 5 times 3? 15 times 2. Did anybody do 5 times 2 first and get 10 and then times by 3? No? They both will work. And sometimes that might be a good strategy, because if I gave you this, okay, how's your mental math today? Not good? Come on. Good. Right, what's the answer to this? 107. Do you think he did 5 times 17 first and got 85?
Yeah.
Probably not. What do you think he did first? 5 times 2 got 10. 10 times 17. That's easier than 5 times 17 getting 85 times 2 and getting 170 that way. Okay, so we multiply the numbers together, and what I'll often do when I'm multiplying the numbers together is I'll just multiply numbers. I'll go like 5 times 2 is 10 times 3 is 30, and then I'll figure out if it should be positive or negative after. Can you see that with 3 negatives, you're going to get a negative answer in the end? Because a negative times a negative, that's positive. But then times another negative is going to be negative. I was thinking about doing a visual negative times negative positive and moving those fingers down, but then that would have been a negative. Yeah. Okay. Then our variables. We've got x's and y's. So the x's will go first because that's alphabetically. How many x's will there be in the end? 3. So we would write x cubed when they're all multiplied together. How many y's are there when we're all done? Cubed. Also going to be cubed. multiplying. Pretty good. Okay, last one for you to try. I'll put up the answer in a second. Already done?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Are we gonna be doing adding?
Okay. Multiply my numbers. Did you get 60? Okay. Mental math-wise, what do you think is the easiest way to get 60?
12 times 5.
12 times 5? Anybody do 20 times 3? I think that's, as far as mental math, I don't think
12 times 5.
12 times 5 isn't bad. No? Because you know your times table?
Yeah.
And then is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. How many a's do we have in the end?
3.
3.
So it'll be a cubed. How many b's?
B4.
Nice.
Is there a term for when it's 4?
After 3, because we say squared, we say cubed. After that, we say to the power 4, to the power 5. There are probably terms.
I feel like it'd be easier to cube those 4. Like to cube something.
I mean, yeah, squared. We say a graph with a 3, we call it a cubic graph. So graph with 4 we call a quartic graph. So I don't know if be quarked.
Be quarked?
I'm not sure. Okay. And now, if you have a product of a monomial and a polynomial, this is where we've distributed, and we've done this with FOIL, but with one thing out in front.
Oh, this is like distributive property.
This is the distributive property. So if you have one number out in front of brackets, then it gets multiplied to each thing inside the term. So you multiply the 4x times the x squared, and then we follow our rules for multiplying monomials, because the first arrow is just one monomial times another monomial. So you multiply the numbers. Well, this number has a 4. What do I do with this one? It has a 1. So 4 times 1, that'll be 4. And how many x's once you multiply the first one?
2.
3 of them, so we write x cubed. Then we go to our second arrow.
Minus 8.
It has a 4 and a minus 2. That will be minus 8. How many x's?
3.
1x there, 1x there,
Oh, wait, my bad.
2. And the next one, the 4 times the minus 1, minus 4. How many x's? Can I put any of those together? No. We have to remember from grade 9 that when you have algebra terms, you can only put them together if they're like terms. And like terms is based on the variables having the same variable, which, oh, they all have x's, with the same exponent. This is an x cubed, this is an x squared, this is an x. So because the exponents are different, these are not like terms, we can't add them together. You can have the distributive property the other way. So notice this time I have two things multiplied. The multiplication is right here. The monomial is at the end. So with this, I like to draw arrows like this, because it's basically the same thing. Some people do this to this, this to this, this to this. But I like to think of it, oh, I could have written that in front, the negative 8x. And then when I look at these ones, negative 3 times, negative 8 times 3 would be negative. How many x's? 3. Second one's 8 times negative 2, negative 16, x and x, x squared. And negative times negative, positive, 5 times 8, 40. Whoops. And we've done this already. Like, this is really a review. We did this so, since you factored, your head has really
Would any
thought about.
adult helping with the rehearsal for the award ceremony, please come to the office now. So if you're an adult helping with the ceremony, please come to the office.
I'm kind of doing a presentation, but I don't think I'm helping.
No, you can help.
I think you're helping.
All have
You
to
maybe just
leave.
come down there just
Gotta
in
go.
case, everyone in this class is going, right?
For real, who didn't get a letter from you?
I got a letter, but I emailed them late.
Email?
I don't know, I thought I found your letter there, it said something.
No, it's just to see. I think I got it.
Why do my parents have to go, bro?
They don't have to go.
Well, they want to.
I know, why did both of them have to go though?
Right, remember this?
I literally nailed that.
And then
If you simplify it, would it be?
you have to simplify it, so you will put the outside and the inside, that's where the green, because they're like terms, they'll get put together to plus 2x minus 8. And maybe, just maybe, you're already good at just writing the answer right away.
Sorry for the interruption. All grade 9s that are receiving an
Oh.
award, please make your way down to the band hall.
Grade
That's
9?
only the grade 9s
Bro,
that
are
are
you
receiving
serious
an
right
award.
now?
No way, grade 9
Your
are
review
receiving
is